What's up everybody, Maine Fly Guys here with another tutorial. Today we're going to tie a hot spot stonefly looking thing. Pretty neat fly I saw recently and I just wanted to tie it up. So start, here's a size 8 hook. Get some clear medium sized vinyl ribbing. Tie it with it's a half circle. Tie it with the flat side sticking towards you. I like to keep it right on the side because stoneflies have a much flatter profile, so if you tie the ribbing on top, you'll have more of a circular profile. And I, for one, like the sort of flatter profile, matching those natural stoneflies, and really most aquatic insects that live in current. So tie it down. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a taper. Not a big one, because stoneflies don't have a big taper, but I'm going to taper it thicker out front, all the way working back to thinner at the back. So I'm going to speed that up for you guys. Okay, so here I've made my taper. You can see it's just a little thicker up here, and there's going to be a collar and some legs on this, so you can leave that space. So right where that thickness starts to decrease again, that's where my body's going to stop. So now you're going to need an orange and a black Sharpie, and what I like to do is start with the black, and you're going to, this is why I'm using white thread. You really need to use white thread on this fly. And you're going to color in basically what part you want black and what part you want the hot spot in. So I want my hot spot to be kind of right in the middle-ish. So I'm just going to do a full circle of orange. Okay, so there's my full circle of orange. Now what I want is everywhere else I want it to be black. So once you have colored in everything like you want, then you can go ahead and start your vinyl wraps moving forward. Make sure that this first wrap, before I speed this up, make sure that this first wrap is basically on the bare hook, because if it's not, then your taper won't be as good as it could be, and we want our taper to be as good as it can be. Okay, so I'm just tying off right behind the bead here, and this bead's pretty big. Again, this hook is pretty big. It's size 8. You can always make this a lot smaller. I mean, look, it's, you know, it's a good size nymph. So what I'm going to do is just kind of make some wraps here, secure it down. Now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to color over the vinyl. You need to use Sharpie for this. I've used some other things and the color just doesn't stay. If you use Sharpie, one, I think it looks a lot better, and two, it does not come off. It stays. Even after using it quite a few times, it stays pretty well. If you're worried about it coming off, you can put a coat of UV gel over this. That totally works. That is totally a good idea, but I don't think you need to if you use a Sharpie. So I just kind of go through and mark it up as I would like, and all it does is it just makes those colors pop a little bit more. So I'm going to keep going on this, and I'm going to speed it up for you guys. Okay, so you see how it really pops now. And give it a second to dry. It's kind of a little wet right now, but give it a second to dry, and you see how they really, those colors really pop. They really come out well, especially the orange. So while that's drying, try to avoid touching it with your hands, but I'll show you once it's done drying that it really is good to go. So here you can put whatever you want for legs. Some people put feathers. The pattern I saw, which I'll put the guy who wrote it below, but I'm going to use rubber legs here, and these are just some orange and black ones. And what I'm going to do is just tie it in towards the back, towards the body, and then I'm going to work forward, because I want one leg to be pointing back and basically one leg to be pointing forward almost. Work forward basically to the bead. Okay, so there I've tied it in, one at the back, one towards the bead. You can see it right there. I'm going to loop that leg around, and I'm going to do the same thing. Catch the first end towards the front. Oops. Might want to catch it though. There we go. Catch that first one towards the front, and then sort of just make a couple wraps working backwards. And let's make that a little longer. There we go. And I'm going to work back towards the body. Nice. Now we have our legs in position. You can glue them down if you want, because sometimes legs can get a little squirmy and they can kind of move all over the place. If you want, you can put them down. I like to cut my back legs right to the end of the hook. So I go right to the end of this bend in the hook, and I try not to stretch them too much, and boom, I just cut them like that. That way I can measure them up and they look pretty good. They're about the same length. Solid. And looks pretty good there. Front ones I'm just going to cut right in the middle. So now we're going to add a collar. And this is 210, and so it's fairly thick. So I can split it to put my dubbing in, which is what I like to do. You could do a dubbing loop, but I'm just going to split it. So you see there I've split a little gap there. So I have some ice dub from Hareline Dubbing, and this is just their black. It's got kind of a purpley glint to it. See it there? It's got kind of purpley glint. And I'm just going to shove some in there. I don't know, I think 2, maybe 3 little clumps. Doesn't need to be a lot because we're not covering a big area, but so there's kind of 3 clumps in there. And then I'm going to rotate my bobbin clockwise. Alright, I'm going to rotate my bobbin clockwise, so it's spinning right now clockwise, and it comes up with this kind of noodly brush here. So what I'm going to do is just go in between the legs. I'm going to go once, twice, and don't feel like you have to use the entire brush. You don't. You know, like right there I'm pretty good. I don't really need any more, I don't think, because I'm going to brush it out and stuff. So just pull those fibers off. That's all I'm doing now, is I'm taking that excess fiber and I'm just pulling it off. And I'm going to go out front of the legs and do a few wraps. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to color my thread with an orange Sharpie, just to give it another sort of orange hotspot. Just keep that color scheme going throughout the fly. And make a very small collar. The smaller the collar, the better, I feel like. I personally don't like a big collar, but... And then all that's left is just touch-up. So what I like to do... See that nice little collar? It's just such a good accent, you know? Scarring. A lot of insects have this sort of scarring, and that's just beautiful. So now the only thing that's left to do is kind of clean it up. So my front legs, I think, are too long. They're a little bit longer than my back ones, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to come in and clean those up a little bit. There we go. And now I don't want my collar to really cover up that hot spot so much that you can't see it. So what I do is I come through and just kind of trim it. Just get a lot of the long fibers out. Not all of them, but a good amount of them. So, thank you for watching. There's our fly. Pretty neat, quick and easy. Cool concept. Looks cool. As you can see, I'm brushing on this back and nothing. No ink on my finger there. It stays on pretty well and it's in good shape. So, there it is. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please check out our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page, check us out on Facebook. We thank you for the support and hope to have it moving forward in 2020, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks.